Well, good morning. It's time for another breakfast. And I'm scrounging around in my kitchen. I have this bread, these buns that were frozen, these brioche hot dog buns. They're all too hard to really do much of anything with other than make breadcrumbs, croutons. But I want to make a strata. So I'm going to use these buns. And I'm just using a little pan, very small, and that's enough for 2 meals for me. And in here I have some cinnamon sugar. So let's go over to my fridge and see what else I can find to go with my strata. And there's my good morning buddy. How are you? He has such expressive eyes. They don't like the camera. You don't like the camera, do you? No, you don't. Don't take my picture. Okay, let's go to the fridge and see what's going on. Gotta make some coffee. I really want some. Hello, good morning. Day 4. I'm having some pumpkin spice this morning because I have a lot of it and I want to use up my creamer. So that's what I'm having with my breakfast this morning, which is in my toaster oven. And I'll be back when it's all done. Okay, trying to use up the last of the pumpkin spice creamer, not too much left in there. Maybe enough for one more cup. There we go. All right, now don't judge. This is my fridge. And yes, shocking, it's packed too. So let's see what we have in here. Well, I have some creamer I could use. These are Ryan's puddings. I wish he'd eat those. But I have some vanilla creamers. I might use those in my strata. I have creamer over here, and I have some almond milk. I think I'll use that because that needs to be used up. I have more rolls here, but those are fresh. I bought some cheese for Christmas Eve, so I'm starting to stack up on that. Let's see. All right, I'm going to put an apple. That'll go with the cinnamon, and these were kind of picked last summer, and they're very small, so maybe I'll get 2 apples. So, oh yes, this is my fridge. I'm working on that too. So, and I still have some crowns here. I want to finish those up. And this strata I'm going to just leave in the fridge, maybe till tomorrow. But I want to finish up those crowns because those aren't going to live much longer. And then I'm going to need some eggs because you need eggs in a strata. So I'm going to get 3 eggs. And then I do have another dozen eggs hidden back there. So I need to use these eggs up too. So I'm going to get 3 eggs. Okay, so I found some pumpkin pie coffee creamer. And this is getting down to the nitty-gritty. So I think I'm going to use that. I'm going to use 3 eggs, 2 apples, cinnamon sugar, almond milk, and these buns. I'm not going to use the other ones. I'll probably only use 2 of these, and then I'll make breadcrumbs out of most of the rest of these. Okay, so I'm going to get to work on this strata, but first, coffee. Cheers. So here's all my ingredients, and I have to set up this camera and put this together. Okay, this is what I have so far. If you have apple peels, you can save those, you can freeze them and cook them in a stock. And I'm going to feed these to my worms, but otherwise I would freeze these, but since I have no room in my freezer, I'm just going to feed these to my worms. But I have a butternut squash that somebody gave me last summer that's still good, and I'm going to make a squash soup sometime this week for dinner, and I'm going to use some apple with that. So this is what I have so far. Let's see what else I can find to put in my strata, or you can say it's a bread pudding. All right, these are some of my spices, and I think I want a little nutmeg in there. Okay, there's the nutmeg. We'll put that out, and let's see what else we can find. Go into my upstairs pantry, and I think I might have some raisins in here somewhere. Yes, there they are, and I'm sure they are starting to get dry, but that's okay because I'm going to soak them. So I'm also going to put some raisins in with this breakfast. All right, so I think I've gathered all my things. So let's put this bad boy together. So I've beaten up my 3 eggs here, but first coffee. That first morning cup is always the best. Okay, so here is my cinnamon sugar that I want to use up. And this is the nutmeg, and I have these little spoons. They're so cute. I've had these for years. And it's a smidgen, a pinch, a dash, and a tad. So I'm going to put a dash of nutmeg. I don't even remember where I got them. I imagine you can get them on Amazon. You can get about anything on Amazon. You could buy a tiny house on Amazon. You can probably even buy a husband if you want. I don't know. So I'm going to also add a little bit of sea salt, not too much, but that'll just bring out the sweetness. Oop, that's plenty. So that's that. And I'm just going to give this a mix. And I have about that much cinnamon sugar. So I hope that's not too much. But we do want it sweet. I'm going to add half for now. Just half. So we'll put that in. And then I want to add some raisins to my apples. And these raisins are getting a little bit dry, but that's okay because this is going to soak for several hours, if not overnight. I'm going to cover it and put it in the fridge. So there we have it. And this is my bread, and I only use 2 of the rolls, and those are big size rolls because this is going to swell up too. So make sure your spices and your sugar is well incorporated because you don't want spots in your little casserole that are too sweet and some that are not sweet enough. So there we go with that. Now ideally, it's best if you put the bread and the apples in first, like in layers, and then add the egg. So I think I'm going to transfer this egg to a cup. All right, I got a little bit bigger casserole dish because, like I said, this is going to swell up. So I'm going to butter this dish. So do any of you guys know the best way to get rid of little tiny ants? I can't get rid of them this year because it's warm. Here for Ohio in December, it's been in the mid to upper 50s most days. So that's kind of warm for Ohio, and the little buggers just don't want to go to sleep. So I'm going to butter this. and I'm just going to use my hands. And yeah, so these ants, I put ant traps out, but they're not interested in those. They're not interested in food because even if I leave food out, they're not bothering it. They're just real tiny little ants, so I don't know what they like to eat. So anyway, I don't know. You guys have any good natural remedies? I put some cinnamon out because I heard they don't like cinnamon. I've kind of sprayed where I think they're coming in with, mint. I heard they don't like that. So, well-buttered dish. Then I'm going to put my bread in here. And I'm also going to add my apples. I always make too much. Always. It's really hard cooking for one. At least I think it is. I mean, I had 3 kids and a husband at one point. So, and I've been on my own for a lot of years. And I still haven't quite mastered it. But actually, this will be enough for 2 meals. And I'll be able to eat this down before it goes bad. I'll be able to keep it in the fridge rather than putting it in the freezer. So that's a better fit for this casserole. So let me wash my hands and I'll be right back. You won't believe what I just did. All right, coffee's here, right? Mug with eggs is here, and I almost drank the egg. Ew. That was a surprise. Okay, enough with the nonsense. Anyway, when you're making a strata, the formula sort of is equal parts of egg, milk, and if you're using cheese, if you're making a savory strata, egg, milk, and cheese to 2 parts day-old bread. So this is about, I'd say 2.5 cups of bread and fruit. And this is probably a 1/2 cup. So I'm going to add some of this pumpkin spice. And I'm just eyeballing it, folks. That's the way I roll. So I'm going to add about, 1/4 to 1/2 cup of that. And then the rest I'm going to have almond milk because I already have the cinnamon sugar in here. So it's about 1.5 cups. So that's about right. All right, so I'm going to give this a good mix. Yep, that was a big surprise when that egg hit my tongue. So the motto of the story is don't mix up your eggs in a cup if you're drinking coffee. Okay, so that's about that much liquid because you don't want it mushy. You don't want your strata mushy. And then I'm just going to pour this all over my bread. I'm going to make sure that it all has some liquid. All right, just kind of smush it down in there. And I think I could use just a little more, so I'm going to add a little more almond milk. Just a little. And just a little more of the pumpkin. This is almost gone. I love when I can use things up. And this will mix with the egg. All right, that looks like it'll be good. So I'm going to cover this with foil now. Put it in the refrigerator and let it soak this up. This would be a great casserole to make for New Year's Eve day or Christmas. If you're having company on Christmas, this would be a great casserole to make. And it's a great way to use up day-old bread. All right, now before I bake this, I still have a little cinnamon sugar. I'm not going to put it on now because it'll melt it all. But before I bake this, I'm going to sprinkle on probably the rest of this cinnamon sugar. All right, I will be back with my dinner later today. Okay, breakfast day 4. Here's my casserole. That looks really good. And I did sprinkle a little bit more cinnamon sugar over the top before I baked it. I baked it at 350 for 50 minutes. So let's give this a little bit of a go here. We'll start off with a small piece. Now this is a sweet strata. You could make a savory strata too. But for breakfast I wanted something to use up my apples, and but you could make this with sausage, anything like that. So, and this is still warm, but you could eat this cold too. So there we have it. And now you can eat it just plain if you want. You can sprinkle it with a little bit more powdered sugar. But I think I'm going to put just a little tiny bit of this pumpkin pie creamer on here. Just a little bit. You don't need to do this, but it'd probably be good. And then I'm going to put a little bit of maple syrup on there. And I get this maple syrup from Costco. So just a little bit of that. So there it is, breakfast day 4, and I'm going to give this a taste and see if it was any good. It seems to be baked through nice and moist. So if you have old bread, you don't know what to do with it, and you don't need croutons or anything like that, make yourself a strata. All right, let's give this a try. Yep, that's very, very tasty. So obviously, this is enough for 2 or 3 meals, but it's very good. All right, breakfast day 4. Okay, so today for dinner, I didn't cook anything. By the time I got home from doing my Christmas shopping, I went to Mark's and I went to Dollar Tree, and I was tired. So I scrounged around in my fridge, and I had leftovers. I had the walnut and mushroom meat that I had. I still had half of that left. And I did pick up some salsa while I was at Mark's, so I had a little more of that. I still had the sour cream and yogurt combination. I still had some Mexican cheese. So I mixed the Mexican cheese, the salsa, and the walnut and mushroom meat all together, topped it with sour cream, and had it with tortilla chips. And that was dinner, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. So a few more things out of the fridge. So anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with day 5 of cooking down the freezer food, cooking for one, and you can always cook for more than one. It's my idea just to give you some ideas of what you can do with food you already have. And If you're looking to downsize and get rid of some of your freezer food or some of your pantry food, go to some of the websites and I think like All Recipes, and there's a few of them where you can plug in the ingredients you have and they will come up with some recipe ideas for you. So if you're not super creative in the kitchen, no worries. Somebody else will be creative for you. All you have to do is follow directions. So anyway, that's all I have for you today. I want to wish you abundant blessings. I love you guys. Be good to yourself. Be good to others. God bless you. And I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.